Today we're going to tie a mini muddler, which is just a variation of Muddler Minnow. You know, it's got the muddler's head here with, you know, spun deer hair. It's got a little hair, deer hair collar, but the difference being this is just a marabou wing, but it still has like a tinsel body underneath, so it gives it that little flash. This is tied on a regular sized hook. It's not an extra long hook like a lot of muddlers are. So let's get after this one. So the hook I like to use is just a regular wet fly, standard length wet fly hook. This is a size 8. This is a Gamakatsu stinger hook. I like it because it's got this nice wide gape in it. Any wet fly, standard wet fly will work, or a 1X long would still work well. For the body, we're going to use this Flashabou, which is a 6991, and it's just a holographic silver. We're going to use, over that, we'll put some ribbing, which is just some silver wire, small silver wire. We'll use deer hair for the collar and the head. And then for the thread, I'm just using black. This is 14-aught Vivus black. You can use just about any color. If you're not used to spinning hair and working with some of this material, you might want to go with something a little bigger, like a 6-aught maybe, so that you can really crank down on the hair. We'll see how I do with this 14-aught. If I break it, we'll just work with that. So we want to start the thread back here, not up against the eye like normally, but maybe about 1 to 2 eye lengths behind. We'll just get this thread started. And then I'm going to tie in my ribbing wire right here, like so. And I'm going to take this wire and just kind of fold it back and wrap over it. And we'll come back just before the hook point. And then I'll take my Flashabou and I'll capture it around the thread like so, and then finish wrapping back to just at the bend of the hook, just at the beginning of the bend. And then I can take my thread back forward right about in there, and we'll work this Flashabou forward. Come on, work with me here, cooperate. It'd be easier using the rotary function of the vise, but since a lot of you don't have one, then I choose to try to do it as if you were using a regular Model A type vise, not using the rotary function. So you can see I just wrap it and I catch it with my other finger here to keep it all where it needs to be. Yeah, it should be good there. Now the reason I don't want to come too far forward is I want to leave this shank exposed, because the metal shank is slippery, so it'll make that deer hair spin around it easier. We'll tie the collar on up here. The wing and the collar will be tied up here, so I don't have to worry about it moving around, but I want that deer hair to spin, so that's why we're going to leave this blank for now. So then we will wrap our thread, or our wire rather, for the ribbing. And that's just to protect this Flashabou as it gets bit a few times by some fish teeth, that it'll won't come unraveled on you, and after 2 or 3 fish you've got nothing but a bare hook there. Alright, now on our wing we're using this white marabou, and if So you look at the top of it, you can see we could use this top, but you see how the ends are kind of thin and they're just, there's not a lot of fluff or anything to them. But if you look on the side here, you'll notice how much fluffier these ends are. So we're going to use some of this stuff on the side. We're just going to kind of even up these ends a little bit and then grab them and we're just going to pull them off. And we want this wing to be probably about twice the length of this body from here to here. So we want it to extend back about like that. So we'll come in here and cut this to length. And tie this down. Pull our thread back a little more. So we have a nice wing there. And now we're going to get some of this deer hair that we'll use. So we just want to pull off, we don't need a lot, we just want enough to make a nice little collar. So we'll take a small little bunch here, cut it close, and then take a comb and comb out the underfur from it so we can stack it. We'll take our stacker. Oh, get down here. Yes, we have some nice even ends. Then we want to measure this so the tips, these tips come about to the, right about to the bend. So right about in there. And so we'll size it up here, switch hands, and then cut off this excess. Just cut them off nice and square. And then tie them in right here at the end of the marabou. We'll make two nice easy turns, pull down a little bit, but I want to keep good pressure with my thumb and finger here so that it doesn't spin around on me, and we just kind of wind right through this, right through all of that. So now I have my wing and I've got my little collar. Like so. And now we'll go back and grab some more hair. So we'll pull out just a little bit more. It's probably too much, probably about that much. Again, we'll comb this out, get all the underfur out. And I'll switch hands here, because I don't need these tips, so I'll just cut this off. So I've just got this little short bunch to work with here, because we're just going to spin it. So what I'm working with is just this little bunch of hair. I'm going to lay this right up on here on top, and we make one rather loose wrap. Then on the second one we pull down and we just get it to start to flare, and then let loose with your left hand and let it follow around with your thread, and then wind your thread through. And we can pull back, wind it up in here, and then we can actually whip finish this. So now that we've got that head spun, we just come in and cut away everything that doesn't look like a sculpin head. So what I do is I start with the very bottom and I just cut it all off square. That'll be easier if you just take it out of your vise, but that would be harder for me to show you how to do this. And then I just kind of come in at an angle and start trimming it up so it's a nice looking little head. Being careful not to cut the collar, but just the head. And there you have a little mini sculpin. You can fish this a lot of different ways. Usually you fish it in the top part of the water column. You can cast it out and just retrieve it back to you, or let it swing through. Fish will take that right off in the top of the water column. So tie some up, go out there and get you some.